In this bass lesson, you are going to learn 5 beginner-friendly, old-school funk bass lines that are instantly recognizable, so if anyone ever says to you, play me something funky, you'll know exactly what to play. Hi, I'm Luke from Become a Bassist, and if you're looking for funk lines that get people excited about your bass playing, then stick around. Welcome to Become a Bassist, where it's all about insanely practical, no BS bass lessons designed to get you playing better bass, having more fun, and becoming the best bassist you can be. And today, it is all about the funk. Specifically, bass lines that are easy to get started, but instantly recognizable, the kind of bass lines that get people's ears to pay attention to what you're doing and, have a bit of a dance. So, let's jump right in to our first bass line. The first line I want to show you comes from the godfather of soul himself, James Brown. Now, there are tons of James Brown bass lines that would have fit so well here, but one that I can just never look past is Get Up Off of That Thing. The main bass line sounds like this. Now, the original recording of this song is actually out of tune. It's kind of halfway between being in like G and in F sharp. But for this, I've just put it in G. Yep, now this is just a 2-bar phrase that repeats over and over and over. We're starting with this low G string, this low G on the E string on the 3rd fret. From there, we're going to go to this B and then this E, 2nd fret on both the A and the D strings. And then then we play around with this kind of E and the F on the D string, the 2nd and 3rd frets right there. So we get E, F, is the little first part. Yeah, then F, F, E, F, before ending on the high G, right up there on the 5th fret. So that's the whole 2-bar phrase, the whole thing slow. So if we use the slower drum track, 3, 4. Yeah, and if we play it up to speed, it'll be more like this. 3 and. Yeah, pretty sweet, right? Now, there is plenty of room in this to kind of put your own flavor into this line. If you want to get some ideas, listen to what Will Lee does on the original recording. He puts all kinds of extra ghost notes and other fun stuff in there. So he'll put like a little one in there, and then also right there. Yeah, he'll also play little kinds of fills at the ends of phrases. I think the first one of the first ones he does is like this. Something like that, right? You can do the same thing. You can play around with the endings of phrases. This can be a lot of fun, and that's one of the beautiful things about this kind of bass line. There's a decent enough amount of room for variation, and it is a ton of fun. As long as you're hitting that G on beat 1, when you're nice and solid there, then you're pretty much golden. Put stuff there, G. On the 1, you'll be sweet. By the way, if you want all the tabs and notation and practice tracks for all the bass lines in this video, just click the first link in the description to download them all for free. Now, because the original recording of Get Up Off That Thing is a little bit out of tune, some people will play this song in F sharp, and I've included tabs and notation for that in the download as well. But let's move on to our next bass line though, and this one comes from Curtis Mayfield, another guy who has tons of great bass lines in his songs, but let's check out his bass line for Superfly. 3, 4. Bass line is super cool, starts off the entire song, and it's all based around this kind of E right here. So we're starting on this E on the A string, 7th fret, and from there it's straight up to the 7th and 9th fret on the G string, our D and our octave E, yeah? Now, this bass line is pretty simple in terms of notes. There's not much in it, but if there is something that would trip you up, it'd likely be the rhythm. Those Ds and Es, they're all offbeats, and they're followed by another low E that's on the offbeat as well. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, right there, yeah? The next bar, we just get that same D and E again, but the rhythm is slightly different. The D is on beat 2, and the E is on the and of beat 3. So we get 1, 2, 3, and, yeah? Then on the very last 8th note of the bar, we get the E on the A string, and then once more down to the thunderous low E string right there. So we get... And then from there, everything is kind of repeated the same as we just had. So, 3, 4. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, so the only difference once you get past that point is that you go to the low E every time, yeah? That's how it sounds up to speed. If you want to take it a little bit slower, make it a little bit easier for yourself. 3, 4. Yeah, just like that. Such a cool song, and you know, practice will make perfect with that one, and you'll really be able to nail that rhythm. Beginner funk bass line number 3 is a total classic from EWF, Earth, Wind and Fire. It's another one where if you learn the 2-bar phrase, it just repeats for the majority of the song, and it goes like this. 3, 4. Now, there is a bridge to this song, but honestly, if you just learn this one phrase, you're golden for 90% of the entire tune. Now, we're in E minor for this bass line, and we're starting on our low E string, then straight up to the 3rd and 5th fret, the G and the A on the E string, then back down to our G before landing on the F sharp, the 2nd fret. Boom, 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 just like that. And then we finish up with the B on the A string, 2nd fret, then down to the open A, and then back up to the B. Boom, 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 and that's over and over again. It's really simple. Boom, 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 boom. Now, if you wanted to, you could also play an open A string instead. So, yeah, so instead of going up to the A there, you just play the open A. Whatever feels most comfortable. So, if we go a little bit slower, make sure we really nail everything, it'll sound like this. 3, 4. We take it back up to speed. 2, 3, and. Just like that. The next bass line was originally played by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Anthony Jackson himself. It's the OJ's For the Love of Money. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Now, this one was originally played with a pick, which means you can, you know, do all the kind of little ghost notes that. Yeah, and again, that's not 100% necessary. Obviously, if you're going for like full replication, you should probably try and get those in. But the easy version is just. Yeah, and again, the notes aren't the thing that's complicated in this bass line. There's only 4 notes. If anything's going to give you grief, it'll be the rhythm again. So we're starting on this low D on the A string, 5th fret, and then straight up to the octave D on the G string on the 7th fret. So both those notes need to be super, super fat. Boom, boom. And then we get 2 quick Cs, ba-bum, 5th fret on the G string, boom, bum, bum. Then we get this phrase. This is a tricky phrase. Yeah, so we're getting 1, 2, 3, and then 4 C's before we're going to B, C, another C, C, B, C, D. Yeah, that's the tricky part there, yeah? Yeah, playing around with those two notes before getting the C and D at the end. Now, if you wanted to, you could also hammer the last note. That could work. Yeah, just like that. That'd be fine too. Or you could pluck it. Both are gonna work. So performance tempo again. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Again, this is another one where you can kind of make it your own. You'll notice the original recording has a ton of variation in it. Anthony Jackson adds a ton of, percussive muted notes when he wants, but that's kind of the basis of the line right there. Once again, if you do need all the tabs, tracks, and notation for all these lines, just head to the description to get them all for free. But right now, we've come to our final bass line, and it's one every bassist should at least be a little bit familiar with, and I'm sure you will have heard this one before. It's the Commodore's Brick House. 3, 4. Yeah, what a line. Yeah, we're starting on this A, 5th fret on the E string before playing C and D on the A, 5th fret on the E string, not the A string, before playing C and D on the A string, 3rd and 5th frets before going back to the E string and playing G, 3rd fret, G sharp, 4th fret, and then back to our original A. That's the first part of our phrase. Yeah, that's probably our more important part of the line as well. The second part of the phrase, you can do all kinds of things. Like some of the other lines, this one definitely has room for variation. One variation that happens a lot in the original recording goes like this. We get... Yeah, we get a quick pop from the high G to a high A on the D string, 5th to 7th fret, and that one can be hammered on, but after that, going back down to the C on the A string, then up to the D again, and then the D with a quick hammer onto the E, before going back down to the C, so we're getting back down to the C, and then finally we get another high G going to high A, so we get... Yeah, so the whole thing slowly is going to sound like this. Actually, I'll do it with the track, just to make sure we're really nice and in time. 3, 4. Same one again. Bit of variation there. Yeah, so up to speed, it's going to sound a bit more like this. 3, 4. Yeah, very, very cool, very funky as well. Once again, lots of room for variation, and I've put a bunch of them in the PDF download as well. Again, you'll notice a theme with a lot of these bass lines is that they're a little bit loose in their structure. It's not the exact same thing played in the exact same way the whole time. You know, that second part of the phrase, there's a bunch of different stuff that gets played in there. So have a listen, maybe even come up with some of your own variations if you want. Although I have put a few in the PDF download for you that you can get in the description. Like I said before, practice will make perfect with these bass lines. So if you want to make practicing and nailing them as easy as possible, you can grab the tabs, the notation, plus all the backing tracks I've been using in this video absolutely free by clicking the first link in the description or even just right here. You can start learning and mastering these funk bass lines in less than 60 seconds, so I'd love to see you in there.